I wish it was Christmas today. I wish it was Christmas today. Every day's a Christmas day. Top 5 things, come what may. Reviews, movies, and festive cheer. Join the fun, Christmas is here. It's Christmas every day.
Welcome, everybody. Merry Christmas. Welcome to Christmas Every Day. This is the podcast that keeps the Christmas spirit going year-round. Now, my name is Troy, and I am your host. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's episode. We've got some great stuff in store for you. Today is Friday, August the 1st, 2025. We're that much closer to Christmas, everybody. I'm going to start this episode off by letting you all know I have the reaction video done for Hanson's Finally It's Christmas. It's done. It's in the books. I've got to let you know I'm not a very good editor, so the music, while I'm listening to it in the video, it could maybe be a touch louder. So that's something that I'll get figured out in the future on reaction videos that I do going forward, but it's just not a great edit. I had a ton of fun doing it, though. You can click the link in the show notes and go check it out. And Josh Allen, thanks again, so much again for the recommendation. I had a great time doing it. Go check it out on my YouTube channel at the link in the show notes. Now, I have a question this week for the Christmas lovers out there. I'd like to know, what's your favorite memory from last year's Christmas season? Now, mine is very easy. My wife and I took my in-laws to Helen, Georgia, which is just the neatest little Bavarian town in Georgia. It's about 5 hours from where we live. Now, the reason it takes that long is because there's not like a major interstate to get you there. There's a lot of little windy mountain roads that you have to take to get there, and it just makes the trip a little bit longer, but it's really fun little town. So we went down there last year for a long weekend over in December. And we also took a little day trip over to Dahlonega, Georgia, which is where they film a whole lot of the Hallmark Christmas movies. So that's my favorite memory by far from last year, the Christmas season last year. Please let me know what yours are. ChristmasEverydayShow@gmail.com. And also, please remember to keep sending those music recommendations for me. I need some stuff to check out, and I want to keep doing some more reaction videos because this last one was a buttload of fun. I shouldn't have said that on the Christmas podcast. I don't care. It's my podcast. So anyway, something happened to me this month, and I didn't really expect it, but I've never been all that big on the Hallmark Christmas movies. I always thought they were kind of cheesy. You know that the girl's going to get the guy at the end, or vice versa. The guy's going to get the girl. But I started watching them around the 1st of July, and something just clicked. I don't know what it was. I can't really explain it, but it's like I get the Hallmark Christmas movies now. I don't understand what happened. It's just insane how wrapped up I seemed to get in the Hallmark Christmas movies this July. I think I was waiting for them, in all honesty. I knew that they were going to start happening. I knew they were going to be played. They was going to start being played in July, and I think I was just waiting for it, and I built up this anticipation, and it just totally paid off for me. Another cool thing that I found out, and it's like this awesome combo. If you watch one of the Hallmark movies, then you can go to the Deck the Hallmark podcast, and you can search for that movie title. So if you watched Haul Out the Holly, you can go into the podcast system of your choice and type in Haul Out the Holly, and it'll probably bring up the Haul Out the Holly Deck the Hallmark podcast episode. So there were like 6 or 7 of the Hallmark movies that I watched where I would watch the movie and then I would go listen to the Deck the Hallmark podcast episode about that movie and just listen to those guys talk about it for like 45 minutes. It was pretty amazing. One of the guys that's on the Deck the Hallmark podcast is also on one of my other favorite Christmas podcasts, which is Christmas Morning. So getting to hear him on a couple of different platforms there is pretty cool. So try it next time. Check out the movie, listen to the podcast. It was super entertaining for me. And you know what? There's a lot worse things you can listen to while you're cutting the grass or, doing the dishes or while you're at work. Anyway, It's only 31 days until September 1st. Can you believe this? It's 1 month until the start of September, which is the start of the Brr months, and I can't be happier about it. I've got to tell you, I'm normally a hot-natured kind of person, and I've been tending a little bit cooler over the last couple of years. I'm getting older. I'm in my 50s now. But this summer was just so hot. I couldn't really take it. It's been unbearably hot in Tennessee, and we just need some kind of fall type weather. Now, normally, or I shouldn't say normally, over the last couple of years in Tennessee, once September 1st hits, bam, it's like an instant 10-degree weather drop. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think I just need more relief from my electric bill than from anything else, because that thing has just been taking a beating. But you know what? I think we're starting to get some relief. Don't forget to get signed up at mymerrychristmas.com. They've got all of the Christmas news. They've got the forums. They've got the media. They've got all kinds of chit chat. They've got like just the coolest little forums that you've ever seen. It's just such a neat website, and everybody there is just so nice. It's also home to Christmas Podcasts, which is the very best directory of Christmas themed podcasts that there is. You may see mine on there. You may not. I don't know. You can go check. But Christmas Podcasts and mymerrychristmas.com. Now, I also want to give a little shout out to the Closer to Christmas podcast. Now, Charlie over there, he puts out a very, very short little, Christmas nugget once a day, twice a day, however many times he decides to do it. But it's like 2 minutes long. It's always enough to put you in the spirit, though, especially, if you don't have a lot of time to devote to a full episode. My episode today is probably going to go about 20 minutes. If you don't have 20 minutes to put to it, but you want to get a little Christmas spirit going on, you got to check out Closer to Christmas. And you know what? On top of, it just being a cool little podcast, Charlie is he's just a class act. In addition to being a great podcast host, and he's a Christmas savant. I like saying that. He's a savant. Charlie over at the Closer to Christmas podcast. Go check it out, please. All right. So now we've come to the countdown, and this is an exciting one. It's very exciting. It's 146 days until Christmas. So, we're under 150 days. It's officially less than 5 months away. So for those strange people out there who don't do any Christmas decorating until November 1st, and look, I know who you are. You know who you are. You've only got 92 days to get ready. So you're going to need to start planning and getting your storyboard out, or whatever it is the kids are doing these days. And you got to get to it. So remember, November 1st is on a Saturday this year. And so that means you've got Halloween on Friday. You pull it all down on Saturday. And then Sunday, we need to see some Christmas lights, decorations. We need to see some snowmen. We need to see something going up outside on your houses, folks. So, we're getting there. We're getting there. All right. So that's really enough housekeeping for right now. We're going to get right to the Christmas character of the week, because I got really excited about this one. I wasn't going to do this particular Christmas character because I didn't really think that he was going to be all that interesting, but the more that I dug into him and the more that I dug up on him, it would have been a full-blown catastrophe had I not done him as the Christmas character. So the Christmas everyday Christmas character of this week is Bell Snickle. Now, okay, I'd never heard of Bell Snickle before this past week, but he has really grown on me. Bell Snickle originated in Germany, and he's obviously a fictional character. He's popular in the German culture. He's popular in the Pennsylvania Dutch community. And he's not necessarily a replacement for Santa in any other cultures, but he mimics Santa in a lot of different ways. He's a more impish, he's a more devilish version of Santa, and I'm about to tell you why. Bell Snickle reportedly walks around and he wears furs and pelts, and he wears clothes made out of animals, and he could be like Grizzly Adams. He's generally pretty raggedy looking, and I don't understand this one. He's got a long tongue. I don't know why that's important, But side note, I don't know why so many of these other alternate Christmas characters have long tongues. Krampus comes to mind. I'm not that big on Krampus, but I know that he's got a big long tongue. He's like that thing out of, Insidious. So I don't understand why alternate Christmas characters have to have long tongues like they do. Anyway, Belsnickel apparently also has a very long tongue. By the way, I'm not going to be doing Krampus as a Christmas character of the week. He doesn't appeal to me. I don't like for my Christmas characters to be quite that dark in nature. So, and by dark, I mean like menacing and, because, Krampus will put a whipping on you. I don't want to do like a fatal whipping on you. So I don't really want to go quite that sinister. But Belsnickel's bad enough now. Belsnickel also sometimes wears a mask. And, all this stuff, it's pretty benign. He wears fur clothes. He's got a long tongue, blah, blah, blah. He wears a mask every once in a while, But here's where it gets good. Belsnickel also carries around treats. He carries cakes and candies and, nuts, and he's got them stuffed down in his fur pockets for the kids. And when he comes across the good children, well, he gives them a treat. He'll give them a cake or a cookie or whatever. But he also carries around a switch everywhere with him. And so I can't get this vision out of my mind where he's walking around with his big fur coat on kind of like a 1970s pimp, and he opens up one side of it and he just pulls out a switch and just starts railing on little kids. And he uses the switch to beat the naughty children. Okay, it's not just that he doesn't give them a gift. He beats them with a switch. He finds the bad kids and he beats them with a switch. Now, if you've never had a switch taken to your backside, you would much rather get a lump of coal in your stocking than you would to get a switch to the backside. Now, while we're speaking about coal, rumor has it that in addition to just pummeling little kids with his switch, he also throws lumps of coal at them. Okay. It isn't just that the kids get a lump of coal in their stocking. That's not what it is. That's Santa. Belsnickel, he's going to throw it at you. I bet Belsnickel had pretty good aim too. I don't know. I just bet he did. I bet he had a lot of practice throwing those little balls of coal at bad little kids. Now, he also had like this innate knowledge kind of, who was good, who was bad. Very much like Santa. Santa always knows. And Belsnickel apparently has that same sort of innate ability to, weed out the goods from the bads. And, that would kind of give him a head start on, who to target with the switch, who to toss a little cookie to. Here, take this little cake. Oh, you're getting the reed here. It really gave him a leg up when it comes to the children that he comes across. Now, there's one version of the character that he'll supposedly go into a house full of kids. He'll pull out a bunch of candy and, cakes, cookies and stuff out of his fur pockets, and he'll put them on the table for the kids. And if they get too greedy, and if they try to reach out too quickly for it, then they get the switch on the back of the hand, just like the old school marm in the orphanage. So I don't really like that version of Belsnickel too much. I like to think that he's out just roaming around the countryside and, going in and out of all the villages and just whacking unsuspecting, like, bad little kids just out of nowhere. That's how I like to think about Belsnickel. There's more to him. There's other, small little details about him, but I think it's pretty safe to say that he's one of the more interesting characters that I've come across, aside from being a Christmas character, just overall character that I've come across. I couldn't be really much happier that I learned about Belsnickel this week. So he is the Christmas character of this week. Now, we're going to get to this week in Christmas history. And last week was kind of slim pickings. There wasn't really a whole lot going on last week in Christmas history. But this week, we've got a little bit more going on and some really interesting stuff. Ralph Blane, who is the composer of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, he was born on July 26th of 1914. Now, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is obviously a very popular Christmas song. It would probably make a lot of people's top 15, 20 Christmas songs of all time. And, that's a pretty big one. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Great song. Frank Sinatra, I'm pretty sure, did the best version of that I've ever heard. But a lot of other people have covered it. So, Happy Birthday, Ralph Blaine. This next one's a big one. So Darlene Love was born July 26th of 1941. So she is thankfully still with us. She is 84 years old, and she's known for doing Christmas Baby Please Come Home, another song called All Alone on Christmas, and she also does a great version of It's a Marshmallow World. Now, It's a Marshmallow World is not a Christmas song. It gets equated with Christmas a lot, and I get it. It's a wintry kind of song, not a Christmas song, but it's still a fantastic song. And Darlene is sort of in this little, not directly, but she's in like this battle at the moment with Mariah Carey as to who is the queen of Christmas. So a lot of people say Mariah is just because of the popularity of All I Want for Christmas Is You. Darlene Love is opposite of her with all of her other holiday hits. I personally would give it to Darlene Love just because I like the old school feel and sound of her songs better. But, you can't argue with the popularity of, All I Want for Christmas Is You. I'm still going with Darlene Love. Anyway, Taylor Momsen, Cindy Lou Who from the Jim Carrey Grinch movie. She was born July 26th of 1993. So I guess she was 7 or 8 years old when that movie came out. Cindy Lou Who in The Grinch. Born July 26th, 1993. Now, composer Frank, it's either Frank Loesser or Frank Loesser, the composer of Baby It's Cold Outside. Side note, not a Christmas song, even though it did make my top 10 Christmas songs. Yes, I know it's ridiculous, but I love the song. I totally equate it to Christmas, even though it's not a Christmas song. It's in my top 10 of my favorite Christmas songs. He died July 28th, 1969. So we mourn his death for sure. That's a fantastic song. Not a Christmas song, but a very, very good song. Nonetheless, with the male. Oh, I'm so sorry. With the male and the female parts, it's just a phenomenal song. Last but not least, this is a big one. So Gene Shepard, the author of A Christmas Story. I can't remember the original name of the story, but it's the story that originally turned into A Christmas Story. He was born July 26th of 1921. And anybody who's not familiar with Gene Shepard as a radio host, you should really go listen to some of his stuff. He was born at the right time, and he was born for radio. He was just one of those. He's one of the best radio personalities I've ever heard of in my life, and you can tell by his narration that he does in The Christmas Story that he's just a phenomenal storyteller. YouTube is full of a bunch of his old recordings, and I would highly suggest you go check those out because he is an amazing radio personality, on top of writing one of the more consequential Christmas stories that's ever been written. So Gene Shepard, born July 26th, 1921. All right, so before we get on with the Christmas Carol of the week, please forward me your new to me Christmas song recommendations again, and your favorite memories from last year's Christmas season to christmaseverydayshow@gmail.com. And I'll be doing more reaction videos based off of those recommendations. Okay, so now it's time for the Christmas Everyday Christmas Carol of the week. Now, this is a fun song. I like to do a lot of the more popular songs for the Christmas Carol of the week, but I also like to throw out some nuggets that might be a little bit more obscure, or that people just don't know more about. They might be old, and people could be like the total opposite of me. I know all or most of the old stuff and not a whole lot of the new stuff. And I think there's a lot of people out there that know a lot of the newer stuff, but don't really get into the older stuff. I like to mix it up a little bit. And this would probably be a lesser known Christmas song to a lot of people. But to a lot of other people who have a particular or like particular styles, you may know this one already. I first heard this one about 3 years ago, and it's really been one of my favorites ever since. It's got a really, really playful feel to it. The music in it is just about as cool as you can get. It's just super playful, and it's from one of my most favorite places in the whole world that doesn't exist. So this week's Carol of the Week is The Sons of Canute, Christmas Dance and Dinner by Garrison Keillor. Now, the Sons of Canute, they're a fraternal organization, much like the Rotary Club or something like that. And they are in the fictional Norwegian town of Lake Wobegon, Minnesota, which was created by Garrison Keillor. And this song describes their annual dance that they have every year for Christmas. And they have dinner and there's drinking, and it's all described in this song in a very Norwegian style. Garrison Keillor, he basically made a living off of talking about this fictional Minnesota town over the radio for like 50 years. But he was also a really, really musically talented person. And this song is just really one example of that. He's got actually a lot of songs that he recorded for the radio program or for, actual records. And I like a lot of his stuff. I really do. The cool part about this song is it kind of tells you during the chorus sections all about the different Norwegian families that were there at the party. So let's check out a couple of seconds of this. It's called The Sons of Canute, Christmas Dance and Dinner by Garrison Keillor.
Oh, they had the Christmas dinner in Lake Wobegon last night. Every last Norwegian was there with an appetite. Their teeth were brushed, their hair was combed, they smelled of fungicide at the Sons of Canute Christmas dance and dinner. There was Clarence Peterson and Hjalmar Peterson and Gladys Peterson and Lois Peterson, Carl Peterson and Karen Peterson and Pete Peterson, he was there too.
Isn't that a fun song? Like, seriously, that little piano part. But do you see what I was talking about when he talks about who all was there? The Petersons were there, and it was Clarence and Hjalmar and Lois and whatever, and Pete Peterson. Well, he was there too. And as the song goes on, they go on and talk about other different families, and so-and-so was here, and so-and-so was here, and so-and-so was here. It's a really, really fun song. So it's not like a traditional Christmas carol or a hymn. But if you want to break away from tradition for a couple of minutes, this one does it for me every time. Now, you can follow the other link in the show notes for the Christmas Everyday Christmas Carol of the Week Spotify playlist, and this one has been added to it, and you can hear the entire version there. You're going to be really glad that you did, because it's just what a neat song. What a fun song. Anyway, I love it. You know what? I think that's going to do it for this week. I really appreciate everybody checking us out. I'm having a blast doing this. I'm loving all the interaction that I'm getting back and forth with different guests and different listeners, other podcasters. It's been a great experience. Everybody's been super welcoming and friendly, and I just want everybody to know that I appreciate it. So anyway, I'm getting out of here for now. Until next Friday, Merry Christmas.
Every day's a Christmas day. Top 5 things, come what may. Reviews, movies, and festive cheer. Join the fun, Christmas is here. It's Christmas every day.